I've never met a father of young kids who was actually proud of himself. Not one that's confident, not one that feels relaxed, not saying, yeah, I've got this. And I've met thousands of dads. What I hear instead is hesitation, second guessing, a quiet feeling of falling short, even when they're doing everything they know how to do. But here's the part that really it stopped me in my tracks. I've met a lot of fathers of grown kids, and the majority of them practically glow when they talk about their children. Not because their kids are perfect, but because of who they became. That contrast matters, and today I want to talk about why. When your kids are young, the scoreboard is absolutely brutal. You always measure yourself in tantrums or bedtime battles, missed patience, exhaustion, whether you yelled, whether you were present enough, whether you're providing enough financially. Every day feels unfinished. There's not a single day that you feel like, man, I crushed it today and everything went exactly as it should. There's no closure, there's no payoff, no moment where someone taps you on the shoulder and says, yeah, what you just did mattered. So a lot of dads assume something is wrong. They think, if I were better, this would feel better. Or if I were doing it right, I'd feel more confident. But that confidence doesn't exist yet. Not because these dads are failing, but because the story just isn't finished yet. When I talk to fathers of adult kids, the tone is completely different. They don't talk about schedules, rules, discipline methods, or productivity. They talk about character. They say things like, he's a good man, or she's strong, or they know who they are. And here's the key difference: they're no longer evaluating their daily effort, they're actually seeing the result. Not perfection, but trajectory. And that's when pride shows up. Not pride in themselves, but pride in what quietly formed over time. There's a long, uncomfortable middle nobody prepares you for as a father. You're currently planting things that you won't even get credit for. You're shaping things that you won't see for years. You're repeating small actions that feel meaningless in the moment. And because there's no immediate feedback, dads internalize doubt, especially now when everything is immediate, right? You want food, you can get it delivered to your door within the hour. You don't want to go to the grocery store, you can have that delivered within the hour. If you want something shipped to you, it's either same day or next day, right? We're used to immediate things that when we want something, we take an action and normally it happens immediately. And since that isn't happening, dads are starting to doubt themselves. They're assuming if this mattered, I'd actually feel it. Or if I were doing well, I'd know, and it doesn't feel like I am. But that's not how legacy works. You don't feel it while it's being built. You feel it when you look back and you see who they are now. The realization didn't discourage me. It actually did the opposite. It made me stop chasing a feeling that I just now know isn't supposed to exist yet. I stopped asking myself, why don't I feel like I'm crushing it? And I just started realizing maybe this season isn't designed for pride, or maybe it's designed for faithfulness. That changed everything for me. Not because it made things easier. Trust me, I don't think there's anything that makes this challenge of fatherhood easier, but it's because it made the doubt quieter. Because instead of thinking about why isn't this creating a result now, I'm thinking about what result is this going to create 10 years from now. You see, fatherhood isn't graded daily. It's revealed slowly. The men who beam with pride later in life weren't confident back then either. The only one that grades us every day is ourselves. The guys that are beaming with pride, they stayed. They repeated the boring stuff. They kept showing up without applause. They didn't know if it was working until one day it just was undeniable. That's the part nobody posts or talks about. But it's the part that actually lasts and actually matters. If you're a dad of young kids and you don't feel like you're crushing it, you're probably right. Not because you're failing, but because this part right now doesn't feel like winning yet. The pride, the success of seeing who your children become, that comes later. Long after the messes are cleaned up, long after the exhaustion fades, and long after the daily doubts are forgotten. And one day, if you're lucky, you'll talk about your kids the way those older dads do. Not proud of the grind, but proud of who they became because of it.